See, just as I said, a defective product from late birth.
William, my ex-husband who left me for another woman 10 years ago, was smirking as he looked back and forth between my daughter in a wheelchair and me.
She's my child. Got a problem with that?
My current husband glared at William as he said this.
What? No way.
My happy life after remarrying. The truth dawned on William, and he looked up to the sky insanely. I am Jane, a housewife in my 40s. Now, I am remarried and living a happy life with my daughter Diana and my husband Oscar. Until 10 years ago, I was living a miserable life that cannot even be compared to the one I have now. I got married for the first time when I was 25 years old. I graduated from college and got a job where I met William. I worked as a receptionist, and he was in the sales department at the same company. As we saw each other every day, he started talking to me. We became friendly over time, and naturally started going out for meals and watching movies together after work. And then, on a date one day, he proposed to me like this.
I'm happy to have met someone like you. Will you marry me, so we can continue this happiness together?
Yes, I will. I accepted without hesitation. When my parents found out about the marriage, they were overjoyed. I quit my job after getting married. This was because William wanted me to stay at home. At first, I thought it would be best for both of us to work, but my husband had a different idea.
But you're a receptionist, right? You meet all sorts of people like me in sales or clients. I can't help but worry that someone might flirt with you.
We can save money if I work too. And we might have children eventually.
I'll work harder to make up for it.
My husband was possessive by nature. When we were dating, he even would get upset if I gave a birthday card to a male coworker. After getting married, I devoted myself to household chores. I tried to do everything I could for my husband: laundry, ironing, cooking, you name it. Life with him was peaceful and comfortable at first. But after a few months, things took a bad turn. The reason was my husband's behavior. He started to look down on me at every opportunity. When things weren't going well at work, he would be particularly harsh. He would complain a lot about dinner as soon as he came home.
Hey, what's this? You're serving me some bland fish dish.
Huh? Yesterday we had a meat dish, so I thought it'd be good to have fish today for a balanced diet.
Fish won't relieve my stress. Forget it. Bring me a beer.
Okay.
You wouldn't understand because you're always at home, but I'm under a lot of pressure. Even today, I've been to several clients and I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Tomorrow, I'll make your favorite dish.
You better understand.
At that time, I thought my husband was just tired and in a bad mood by chance. But even when I prepared his favorite dish and waited for him, he started coming home late more often due to sudden overtime or business entertainment. I had prepared your favorite dish for you. Then my husband glared at me.
You, who don't even work, have no right to speak to me like that.
I didn't become a housewife because I wanted to. Well then, I'll work too. We don't have kids yet. Isn't that okay?
What did you say? You need to take care of the house properly. You're my wife, so fully support me.
Then, I'll look for a part-time job during the day.
Alright, but don't slack off on the housework.
Fortunately, There was a part-time cashier position available at a nearby supermarket, and I got hired immediately after applying. But my husband's condescending attitude remained just as terrible.
Hey, this shirt is full of wrinkles. What's going on?
I did the laundry, but the weather was bad yesterday, so it didn't dry well. I'll iron it now.
I told you not to slack off on the housework, didn't I? If you can't do it properly, then quit your part-time job.
This made me feel more like a maid than a wife. My husband was like this at home, but he was affable to everybody outside of the home. One day, this happened.
We're going to my parents' house tomorrow, so prepare a gift for them.
What? Isn't this too sudden? If you had told me earlier, I could have prepared something.
That's why I'm telling you in advance now, right? Or are you saying you can't get it done?
It's not that, but I have my own schedule too.
You're just a part-timer, don't give me attitude. Make sure you get it ready. Understand?
I prepared a gift that I thought my husband's parents would like, and the next day we went to their house. Apparently, it was to celebrate the eldest son of my brother-in-law starting elementary school.
Jane, I'm sorry to trouble you. Thank you for coming.
I'm sorry, I should have brought something that your grandson would like.
It's just a dinner party. I told William that nothing was necessary, but he's always so considerate. You prepared it, didn't you? Thank you.
My mother-in-law said this to me. At his parents' house, my husband is known as the thoughtful second son. And there, he plays the role of a thoughtful husband towards me as well.
Jane started a part-time job recently. She chose a job near home so it wouldn't affect the housework.
It's difficult to work when you have children, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why she's working now, while she can.
That's a good idea. You two are really responsible.
My husband talks with my mother-in-law like that, creating an image of himself as an excellent son and a good husband. Because my husband is good at putting on a front like this even at my parents' house, I can't talk to anyone about him. And when I came back from in-law's house,
Hey, can't you be a bit more thoughtful? It's a wife's duty to support her husband when we're out, right?
Huh? I did prepare the gift as you asked.
It's not just about that. You should play with my nephew, help out my mother. There are many things a daughter-in-law should do, right? It's not enough to just do what you're told.
I'm sorry. Whenever I returned from my husband's parents' house, I always got lectured like this. Since getting married, this kind of life continued, and I became more and more depressed. I couldn't do housework properly, I wasn't thoughtful enough, and I could only do what my husband told me to do. I was gradually brainwashed by my husband's condescending words into believing those things. At home, I was nothing more than a housekeeper. Every day, I just did the housework as my husband told me to and worked part-time during the day. Perhaps my husband got tired of me, as he started coming home later and later. Recently, you've been coming home late.
Work is busy.
I'd like you to at least let me know when you're going to be late. I need to prepare dinner.
Ha! Unlike your part-time job, sales work depends on the clients, so it's normal to adjust to their schedule. Don't you even understand that?
All I asked for was a heads up if he was going to be late. I had a feeling that his late nights weren't just because of work. The reason is, when I picked up my husband's suit to take it to the dry cleaners, I noticed the scent of women's perfume on it. Additionally, Despite him coming home from work, I noticed the smell of shampoo, completely different from sweat. It's likely he's having an affair. But I didn't have the courage to confront him. If we divorce, I have nowhere to go. My parents like my husband, so I would be blamed if we split up. Also, I don't go out much aside from my part-time job and shopping, and I don't have any friends I can confide in. Because of all this, even if I realized my husband was cheating, I've been turning a blind eye to it. One day, I realized that my period hasn't come for a while. And sometimes, I felt strange nausea. Maybe. I decided to muster up the courage to talk to my husband. If he knew we were expecting a child, perhaps he would come back to me. Since my husband adored his nephew, I thought he would be happy to hear we were having our own child. Hey, I think I might be pregnant.
Ha!
Lately, I haven't had my period, and I've been feeling like I have morning sickness.
Are you kidding me? Even if it's true, you should consider abortion.
Wait, why? What do you mean?
Because, you're 35, aren't you?
So what?
Well, you know, pregnancy over 35 comes with risks. There's no guarantee the baby will be delivered safely, and there's a chance they might have disabilities.
What?
And besides, I have no intention of raising a child with you. Maybe we should just break up.
What? Why would you say that? You like kids, don't you? You adore your nephew, right?
Ah, I was just pretending to like him. I don't actually like kids. I hate crying babies.
That's...
And besides, I've been thinking of you more like a maid. But if you're going to have a child, then you're out. You do realize, don't you? I have someone else. It'd be easier to live with her.
What, are you going to leave me? My husband smirked and said,
You know how they say you should replace electronics after 10 years? Well, we've been married for 10 years too, so maybe it's time to replace the wife.
He said that as if it were nothing. I couldn't believe he was this kind of person.
I'm going to the other woman's place right now. I'll send you the divorce papers soon, so make sure you sign them and file them.
Are we really getting divorced? If there's something wrong with me, I'll fix it.
Ha! Something wrong with you? Your very existence is the worst. Do whatever you want with the child. Abort it, raise it, I don't care. Though with your measly income, you probably can't raise a kid. Ugh.
With those hateful words, my husband left the house. Left alone in the house, I was overwhelmed with tears. What did I do wrong? I did all the housework just as he asked, and I never caused any trouble. How can I suddenly be facing divorce? What should I tell my family? And with a child on the way, what am I supposed to do from now on? These thoughts swirled in my mind, leaving me in a state of withdrawal. A few days later, I heard the sound of the front door opening, and my husband returned.
Hey, are you here?
Looks like no one's home.
I could hear a woman's voice too. She was wearing a miniskirt, heavy makeup, and had a somewhat sharp-looking face with slightly slanted eyes, and she was clinging to my husband.
Eek. You scared me, I thought it was trash.
The woman noticed me lying on the living room sofa, my face streaked with tears, and she screamed.
You look like a ghost or something, like something out of a nightmare. How could you be with such a woman?
Seriously. She really does look like a ghost.
Despite being unfairly belittled and cheated on, all I, being brainwashed, could manage to say was, Did you come back?
Come back. Don't be ridiculous. I just came to get my stuff and bring the divorce papers. Here they are.
As my husband said that, he casually tossed the filled-out divorce papers at me. The moment I saw them, nausea overwhelmed me, and I covered my mouth and rushed to the bathroom.
I don't want to live here.
Yeah, her disgusting smell is lingering everywhere. Shall we start looking for a new place?
Yes, let's go to the real estate agent right away.
My husband, facing me as I struggled in the bathroom, said,
You better submit the divorce papers and get out of this house soon. Got it?
Then, he left with the woman. Crushed, I continued to cry for a while. Worried about the baby, I went to see the obstetrician and found out that I was not pregnant. The missed period and nausea were due to hormonal imbalance caused by constant stress. While I felt relieved that the pregnancy was a misunderstanding, it also gave me the opportunity to rethink my life and break free from being brainwashed by my controlling husband. I left the house I shared with him and, of course, submitted the divorce papers. I could have claimed compensation from my ex-husband since the divorce was largely his fault, but I decided not to do it as it seemed like too much hassle. Although my ex-husband may think he dumped me, I also felt like I was the one who dumped him, ready for a fresh start. I vowed to myself that I would make something of my life and prove him wrong. When I told my family about the divorce, they scolded me for acting rashy, but after explaining the details of his infidelity, they understood and supported my decision. As I continued my part-time job, I started considering my future, little knowing that unexpected opportunities awaited me. 10 years later. One day, I was enjoying shopping with my daughter, Diana. Today is her birthday. We were buying the clothes she wanted, and we had plans to go to a cake buffet. But on this perfect day, we encountered the worst possible person. Yes, my ex-husband, William. He was with another woman, not the one he cheated with that led to our divorce.
Hey, long time no see.
He approached with a smirk and glanced at my daughter.
Looks like having a baby at an older age really was a mistake. Being defective must be tough. Ha!
What? My daughter was 9 years old at the time. She was living with a prosthetic leg and using a wheelchair due to a traffic accident. What are you talking about? Could he be misunderstanding something?
This is the kid from back then, right? Looks like you lost the parent lottery.
He said this to my daughter. Noticing our exchange, my current husband approached and stood next to our daughter.
Dad, what does he mean?
My daughter asked, looking puzzled at my husband. William's expression changed drastically.
Is there something you need from my wife and daughter?
His tone was calm, but I could tell he was very angry.
What? Your wife and daughter?
Yes, that's right.
No, she was my ex-wife. And this child is mine and hers.
This child is absolutely mine. Is there a problem with that?
What?
William seemed completely confused.
It seems like we should discuss this somewhere else. Do you have time?
William had no choice but to nod at my husband's suggestion.
My office is nearby. We can talk there in private.
The woman with William looked annoyed and left the scene. As my husband led us to his company building, William turned pale.
This is the parent company of my workplace.
Is that so? By the way, what's the name of your company?
When William mentioned the name, my husband smiled.
Ah, yes. That's the company we recently took over in M&A.
Indeed, my husband had bought the company where William worked.
I had no idea. I've been so rude.
William curled in embarrassment.
Let's discuss everything, including that matter, in my office.
Since it was a weekday, there were many employees working as usual, and we walked past them to the president's office. We left our daughter, in her wheelchair, to a secretary for assistance. My husband, who is the president, began the conversation.
Where should we start? You are my wife's ex-husband, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I've heard about your time together. You abandoned her due to your infidelity.
Abandoned? That's a harsh way to put it.
William was flustered by my husband's direct remark. Have you forgotten? You did say you were going to abandon me, didn't you? I couldn't help but interject. I am no longer the person I used to be. I wouldn't stay silent after he talked about my daughter that way.
That was an amicable divorce, wasn't it? You even filed for divorce without saying a word.
That's right. So, you have no right to complain about my current life, do you?
I mean, it's impressive.
What do you mean?
Despite being dumped by me, you managed to marry the CEO even with baggage.
Baggage?
But she's my daughter, right? You were pregnant when we got divorced.
Huh? William seems to believe that this daughter with a prosthetic leg is his own.
It's sad she was born with disabilities from your late pregnancy, but it's reassuring if the new father is the president, right?
What are you talking about? She's not your daughter.
Ha! It matches the timeline, doesn't it? Or are you saying you were already with this president at that time?
That's not true.
As William and I were arguing, my husband interjected.
I also remarried. That girl is my daughter with my ex-wife.
Ha! Then what about the prosthetic leg and wheelchair?
My husband answered William's question carefully.
Ah, she lost my leg in a traffic accident a few years ago, and my current wife took care of her at that time.
Yes, after my divorce, I chose to pursue a new life by becoming a counselor. Realizing that I had been brainwashed by William, I began studying to become a psychological counselor in order to restore my mental health. I obtained my qualifications and started working at a welfare facility to support people who were in similar situations to mine. It was there that I met this young girl who had just been in a traffic accident. She became withdrawn after losing her leg in the accident. Her mother had already passed away, and my current husband struggled to get her to open up, so she came to our facility for rehabilitation. She loved reading novels and often read mature stories despite being a child. I happened to be reading the same novel, which led us to start talking, and gradually she opened up to me. Naturally, I also started talking more with her father, and eventually, we decided to remarry.
So, what happened to my child from back then? Did you abort it?
William was pressing for answers. It was a misunderstanding. I wasn't pregnant.
Ha!
William's voice cracked. By the way, William, are you an employee of my husband's company's subsidiary? My husband, who is the president, quickly explains.
Yes. Actually, our company is currently working on a project for children in collaboration with the company he works for, which we recently took over.
As he said this, my husband glared sharply at William.
Yes, that's right. I'm in charge of that project. What a strange coincidence, isn't it?
William looked like he wanted to disappear.
Then we'll have to remove you from that project.
What?
William froze at the sudden announcement from the president of the parent company.
I'll talk to your manager and have you removed from this project.
William turned pale.
Sir, isn't it inappropriate to bring personal matters into work?
I'm not removing you for personal reasons.
This project is crucial for our company's future. It's a huge opportunity for me. Please don't ruin my career plans, sir.
William desperately pleaded.
I thought so. The woman you were with earlier is the daughter of your company's president, isn't she? I don't know what sweet talk you used, but you were trying to seduce her and get into the president's family, weren't you?
My husband seemed to have hit the nail on the head regarding William's intentions.
You understand, right? It's that man's ambition. This project is exactly that opportunity. Please set aside personal matters and let me do my job.
What are you talking about? Do you understand that this project aims to promote better moral education for children?
Of course.
Yet, despite that, you didn't hesitate to make discriminatory remarks about my daughter. She's only 9 years old. I can't entrust this job to someone who can't even consider a child's feelings.
I didn't mean. If you removed me from the project, I wouldn't just miss out on a promotion, I wouldn't be able to stay in the company. Please stop. Please forgive me. I thought she was my daughter and it slipped out.
Even if she were your own child, you shouldn't call her defective.
Hey, help me out here.
William pleaded as he faced my husband's intense anger. What are you saying? You reap what you sow, don't you?
This happened because you were with that girl. What are you going to do about it?
William accused me crazily.
It's your fault. Everything would have been fine if I hadn't met you. Why did you have to do this to me?
It's all your fault. Seeing William like that, my husband added more.
If you continue to verbally attack us like this, I will report the details to not only your department manager but also to the president, who is the father of that young lady. If you don't want to lose your job, reflect on your actions and start over.
With my husband's ultimatum, William turned tail and left. Then my husband looked at me with a smile and said, "Let's go home." Although the celebration for our daughter's birthday didn't go as planned that day, she smiled happily and enjoyed herself nonetheless. Afterwards, it seems William, my ex-husband, faced consequences within the company. The reason for being removed from the project, his discriminatory remarks towards the child, became widely known within the company, leading to him being sidelined into a less significant role. Naturally, he earned the wrath of the president, who happened to be the father of the woman he was involved with at the time, resulting in a ban on any further contact with her. Being looked upon disapproval by those people around him, he lost faith in humanity, and eventually quit his job, now living as a recluse at home. It's a pitiful situation. But, ultimately, it's all of his own making. As for me, I've been enjoying happy days since then. My daughter has grown accustomed to her prosthetic leg, and it seems she might be able to graduate from using a wheelchair soon. What's more, it looks like she has even found a boyfriend at school. The new project at my husband's company has been selected for a new initiative by the Department of Education, and it will be utilized in moral education classes at elementary and junior high schools nationwide. I am actively involved as a key member of the project, and my name has been mentioned as a candidate for the company's next executive officer. Let me make it clear that this is not due to any favoritism from my husband, who is the president. Since we had that incident on our daughter's birthday, we're planning to take a family trip abroad for our next wedding anniversary to refresh ourselves. Whether we should go to Europe or the Caribbean, we haven't decided. The decision-making process is part of the fun.